it, and that's what we're focusing on this show. And like you said, the show stopped late March because everything shut down. COVID hit. Everyone went
Mm-hmm.
went their own ways. Everybody, we couldn't come to the studio and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we're bringing it back. And in fact, the guest that we were supposed to have at the end of March at the time was actually Peju. And so Peju has waited patiently for like 3 months to come
Wow.
on the show.
Wow.
So when we wanted to bring her on, she was just the new CEO of Lumos. And now she's been there like, the 3 most difficult months of any CEO in Nigeria. So Peju, thank you for coming on this morning. Hope you're well.
Hi, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So, Peju, let's kick it off. I mean, you've been a corporate leader in Nigeria for 2 decades. You've been in Mukafoam, you were in Lafarge. You even took a time in government as the Commissioner of Agriculture in Ogun State. So, but tell us a bit more about your background and what led you to where you are now.
Thanks, Wiebe. How did I get here? Very good. Essentially, I've been, as you said, for actually about three decades, 30 years in corporate, and been, as you said,
Okay.
How did I get here? We have a lot of things that we need to get right in Nigeria. I find that I'm interested in development and helping us get things better than we are at the, because we all the Nigerians deserve better. So just as food, for agriculture and learning how to feed ourselves, the same thing with power. Less than a third of Nigerians have access to reliable power. And we know, everybody competes for life. And we know this isn't sustainable. Even countries like China have more reliable power than we. And so when the opportunity came to run a renewable energy, a solar energy company called Lumos,
All right. Sorry, Wiebe. If I may, for a moment, I think her line is a little freezing. It's breaking. If you could, I think we need to fix that. I could barely hear you, and I'm sure the listener will be wondering what exactly is going on. I think we need to fix the audio. Could check the sound just a bit so we can get to hear what our amazing guest, Peju Adebajo, the CEO of Lumos Nigeria, is saying on this morning's episode of Power Solutions. So we need to fix that. As soon as we can get that clear, we'll get back into her answering the question you asked her. With how to do, with how to start. So the listener, if you're just joining us, you are listening to Power Solutions, and we are focusing today on the solar box powering up Nigeria. And of course, we have the CEO of Lumos Nigeria joining us today, Peju, or if you like, Peju Adebajo, speaking to us with Dr. Wiebe also on the other side. So several questions to ask. As soon as we are sure about the sound, we'll get back to that conversation on Power Solutions. It's a place where we do not complain. It's a place where we do not say, oh, NEPA is not NEPA has not brought the light. NEPA is not. It's a place where we try to stop complaining and do something. Or at least get to talk to those who are doing something about the power solution in Nigeria. Stick around. We'll be reconnecting in just a moment.
My country people, them go talk, them just the parambulate. So story heavy, If I no bring light, Nepa no bring light, generator won't take my plenty greedy man for there, Take a project, forget forget about the big things, say make you talk about the small things,
All right.
I love
Sorry about that. Let's see. All right, Peju.
All right, great. I can see Wiebe is back and Peju is back too. Can we hear you loud and clear? Say something. Let's be sure that our sound is fixed already.
I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Great, I heard you. I
There
heard
you
you.
go. Much
Absolutely.
better. Much better.
So much better.
So let's
Let's
jump into the next question.
yes, absolutely. Move on to the next question. Now, so for many in the industry, it came as a surprise that such a high-profile executive chose to enter the solar sector. And what's your motivation, really, Peju? Why solar and why now?
Well, you know, when you say high profile, that's interesting. If people who are able to help don't go in and actually dive in, then you know we're very long way from ensuring that we move forward in Nigeria. I was saying earlier on that you know I think it's important that we begin to fix issues which are preventing us from
Okay.
developing, and solar and access to energy is
All right. Could you,
definitely
if you're using an earpiece to hear me, I don't know. You might want to, because it's still your voice is fading. I mean, I'm picking the words and then it's fading just a bit. All right. Yes. So go ahead. Just be conscious of that.
all right. I'll talk a bit more slowly.
Okay.
Less than a third of Nigerians have access to reliable electricity.
Okay.
And we all understand that light is one of the things, power is one of the things that we really need to fix in Nigeria. And solar, by the way, the cost of solar energy has been coming down over the years.
Okay.
And we know that we require a large amount of money to ensure that we're able to fix the grid infrastructure, i.e., the NEPA infrastructure that we had for years. And so with solar energy, the cost has been coming down over the years. And just as in banking and as in telecoms, we didn't have to go through all the pain that happened in some of the more developed countries. The same thing with solar, we can do another revolution and help us solve the things and be able to deploy much faster in a much less expensive way than fixing the grid. Actually enable more households, more businesses to get access to electricity in more cost effective way. And this is really doable.
Well, I could pick a few things there. Of course, you talked about the importance, of course, why solar and answering the question why now and the motivation and all. Now, when I was introducing you, and of course, when Wiebe mentioned your name, we talked about Lumos, and we are here to talk about the solution provider. Of course, it's not a place where we complain about the past problems. We just look for solution or talk to those who are providing solution. Now, tell us about how it started for you with Lumos, and who's behind it, really. You know, most times when you hear a solution, you like to know who's behind it and the story behind it. So just take us through that journey now.
Okay, so Lumos is a Nigerian company. It's about 5 years old. It
5
actually
years.
started in, and we have a sister company in Ivory Coast. It essentially deploys solar, so it's a solar home system. And get a panel, a solar panel, install it on your roof. You get what is called an indoor unit, an
Uh,
indoor
okay,
for
okay.
yellow book.
Sorry, we still have that audio challenge, unfortunately. So, and I have to apologize to the listener. Don't worry, we'll try and fix this before it ends and get all these points from Peju, who's our guest right here, and Wiebe also, who's on the other side. We're still having the challenge of the audio starting high and then going low at some point, and then it goes off totally. And I don't think it's network. Could be, I don't know what it is, but we're going to fix it and make sure we have this conversation on. Wiebe, anything else you would like to say while we try to fix the sound? Let me be sure that yours is okay.
Well, yeah, can you hear me okay? Is my sound okay?
Yeah, it is.
So Peju, maybe you do want to drop the video, and then maybe all of your bandwidth will get the audio. Maybe then we'll hear it. Mr. Collins?
Oh, okay. If that's going to work, it's better. We need to hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Great. So,
All right,
Peju,
Peju, let's hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
yes, I always hear you at the beginning until you go into the conversation and then it goes off. But let's have you talk. The question was, of course, you were addressing the question of why solar, why now, and what your motivation is. And you could just wrap that up before we move on to the next question for you. And you talked about that also. And you also talked about Lumos. You're telling us who's behind it and where it started and when it started and all that. So let's take it up from there, Peju.
Okay, in very quickly, the cost of solar is coming down. So
Okay.
essentially, it becomes more accessible and more affordable for
Okay.
Nigerians, and that's what we need. We don't need something that's going to take too long.
Okay.
The grid fix it may take a long time,
That's right.
but in the meantime, the cost of the solar box is so. For example, to get our solar box installed, you pay a 20,000 naira setup fee, and then you pay 4,966 naira every month. So that is something that's really within reach of
Hmm.
and so it's very easy to do. And I would love to help our listeners understand how they can get access to light within 20.
All right. Well, I heard the part that's where you said the
It's
cost of solar
same
it's
problem.
affordable. It's the same problem, same challenge. But at least I got the point that solar is more affordable. Is becoming the cost of solar is dropping, and I mean, why not? If not, Wiba, if that will be the solution. I mean, everyone is complaining about today on the radio show alone. I've gotten like 2, 3, 4, 5 calls complaining about the power
Yeah.
situation in the area. So I mean, solar, of course, is the way to go, and why we're here. One of the ways to find solutions to the problems that we have regarding power. So that's going to fix that audio sound. It would be nice to hear from her. I mean, Wiba, if you were going to talk more about, solar, what would you say?
Well, look, I mean, I think for her point, less than half Nigerians are actually on the grid, and even those on the grid, obviously, we know have very little power. But products like Lumos and that type of product, they're called solar home systems. They actually allow you to say, okay, look, instead of now buying a generator and fueling it, and all the fumes and a generator is relatively dangerous, especially for children and all that. A solar box, you then just have a panel, a simple plug and play, and then you can actually get the power you want, and you get it reliably. And of course, at some point, depending on the size of the box, maybe at 4 a.m. in the morning, because the battery runs down, you might run out of power. But it still is an amazing solution that anyone can just buy and pick up and install in their house. So you don't have to wait for the grid to be fixed, and so on. So it's a great opportunity. The cost of solar is going down quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, great. I mean, I cannot wait for my audience to learn more about this amazing innovation, of course, that is bringing power to them, in the most convenient way. Because I would really love to have her back so that we can hear more about this innovation, of course, this wonderful product, which you talked about, the yellow solar box, which is a solution. The truth is, if we could fix the power problem in this country, if we could just, look elsewhere and beyond complaining like we always talk about on this show and fix the power problem in this country, I think that we probably would have done 90% of our problems solved. In fact, that's a no-brainer. So whenever we have to talk about power solutions, I'm super excited because I know that it's going to be impactful on everyone who's listening, and hence the reason we have this conversation ongoing. If you're just joining us, you're listening to Nigeria Info 99.3, and we are live on Power Solutions, where we discuss the solutions of power when I'm talking about electricity, and today we have a special guest, myself and Wiebe, who's my co-host on this show. Her name is Peju Adebajo. She is talking about the solar box powering up Nigeria, and I know you want to know more about this, and she's back. There she is. Hi, good to have you back. It's always
let's get audio.
Oh,
Is it working this time?
yes, I heard. Is it working this time? I heard that one. So let's say it's working. Let's get into it. So we just hit the ground running. Now, you have talked about why solar and the fact that it's very convenient and it's becoming cheaper by the day. Now, you talked also a bit briefly about the yellow solar box product. Can you tell us more about that? And how can someone who's listening right now and is looking for that kind of solution, how can they access it? How can they get this product? Let's talk about, first of all, what it's about and how it works.
Okay, so the solar box is very simple. You have a solar panel, which is installed on your roof, and
Okay.
then you have a box. The panel is connected to a cable, and the cable fits into a box which you can put inside your house. So essentially, the solar panel takes energy from the sun, and then it stores it in the box. And so when you're ready to use it, you just plug any device into the box, and then you have uninterrupted, reliable power supply, very constant. And so you can use it for your fans, TVs, lights, radio, mobile phone, etc. So it gives you power in a very simple and reliable way. To get it, you can call our Lumos helplines, 0800 123 4567,
Okay.
or go to the Lumos website, www.lumos.com.ng, and you just find the nearest sales point. You go there, and then you'll find someone to take you through the process. Very simple, very easy.
All right. I mean, that's fair. But let's talk about this period. COVID-19, of course, has affected a lot of people, no doubt, and everyone is affected, the businesses. So we'd like to talk about some of the positive impacts and the negative too of this COVID-19 on this business. Would you say more positives or negatives? I mean, what's your story?
Well, so is the glass half empty or is it half full? Depends on how you look at it. Well, I mean, one thing all Nigerians saw, as some of us had to work from home, or people couldn't go to their normal places of work, we all saw that power was an issue. And so from that point of view, many people, for example, rather than running a full-size generator during the day, people began to understand that if you use solar, for example, it's up to 70% cheaper than running a petrol generator.
All right.
So, I mean, what you can do is saving some money. So that has been good for the industry. People to realize that there's an alternative to running a generator, away from the noise, away from the fumes. You can actually have clean, reliable electricity. Obviously, for some people, it's a little bit more, their pockets are a little bit more stretched at the moment, but at least you can save money on your power costs if you're able to use solar instead of running an expensive generator. Many of us saw the problems with power. We're seeing the problem with data. We've experienced connectivity issues on the phone now. And also our healthcare facilities, and thank you to All On, Wiebe's on the line. All On very kindly provided a grant for 4 solar companies to deploy solar across healthcare facilities in Nigeria.
Wow.
We were one of those beneficiaries, and we were able to deploy all the way across Nigeria in about 96 different locations. And that really gave people a first-hand opportunity to understand how solar works. Because it's one of those things that you need to really experience it to understand it.
Yeah.
And to give people an opportunity to really see how it works. And we've got very positive feedback. So every disappointment, pandemic certainly hasn't been the experience that we all wanted. But for the industry, it's given an opportunity to show that there are other ways of ensuring that we are able to deploy power to homes and businesses.
Yeah, great. I know that one question Wiebe would love to ask is the question of your COVID-19 response. Of course, he's a co-host of COVID-19 Hero. So, Wiebe, how would you want to ask that question about the response, especially to the COVID-19 reality regarding solar?
Yeah. So I mean, Peju did already mention that. I guess what would be great to hear is, in the end, the Lumos box, the power is limited. So how does the medical facility use a Lumos box? What was the way that power was able to help them work more efficiently in the difficult times?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would say that so you have solar boxes at different levels of power output. Ours is really designed for homes and small businesses. So, for example, in the healthcare facilities, I mean, a very important thing you can imagine is where they're doing the tests, in the labs where they're doing the test. If light goes during the test, they have to start all over again. So by having those test kits being connected to constant, reliable power, you can imagine what a difference that makes when you're doing the large number of tests that all of a sudden the people were confronted with. The box is able to power vaccine fridges. You know the importance of keeping vaccines at the right temperature. And so all of this goes towards ensuring at the end of the day that you save lives. We also deployed in primary healthcare centers, so not just in the COVID isolation center. So, I'm sure you know that there's a primary healthcare center in every local government in Nigeria, sometimes more than one.
Right.
And they're the first line of defense for most people when they need medical care. To have women who come in during childbirth able to give birth rather than using a torchlight, if there's actually electricity, it makes all the difference in the world. We think these are small issues, but at the end of the day, lives get saved if the doctor can see what they're doing. If your medical records can be kept properly, because there's lights available to take those records. If the healthcare facility is open a bit later at night, because they have lights available. So it's amazing what a difference even having power, if you say at a very basic level, fans, lights, telephones. We take it for granted sometimes in the urban areas, but in the peri-urban areas and the rural areas, this is literally the difference between life and death.
Right.
So we were privileged to have that opportunity.
Fantastic. Our time is fast spent, no doubt, but I cannot but wonder, how has the government been supportive, or would you say how supportive has the government been for Luminous and over time, and both over time and in recent time with the COVID-19 reality? How would you want to address that? And what's next for Lumos as we move on?
Well, I mean, the government continues to be supportive. As you know, we have a energy roadmap which has been rolled out, and recently the Vice President unveiled the Economic Sustainability Plan. A key component of that plan is the provision of 5 million solar home systems to about a number of households across Nigeria, and so that is very tangible realization of what I said earlier on. That while the grid will be fixed, we've seen the Siemens deal, and we expect that will make a real difference in the power sector in Nigeria. But while that is being fixed, it takes a while, and it takes money to ensure that infrastructure is rolled out. In the meantime, solar home systems can be very quickly and easily deployed across the country. And so having the government support is extremely important. And the more we can have these systems deployed, the more people are educated about what solar is, and the faster we can get light to the last mile across Nigeria. Lumos continues to grow. As we speak today, we're launching 2 new products. And so enabling our consumers all over the country to have even more options in terms of what their money can afford and the sort of power that they need in their homes and businesses.
All right, Wiebe, I started it. Would you end it now? Our time is fast spent. But I must say thank you to our guests. Well done. Hi, Wiebe. All right. Okay, I can't. It doesn't seem to connect with him. But thank you so much, Peju, for speaking with us today on Power Solutions. And apologies to the listeners. Absolutely, for the hiccups, of course, we had for the audio. We hope that next week will be better. Hopefully so. Thank you again to Wiebe, my co-host, who is about now frozen, just saying. But it's been a journey. Thank you again. So that's it for Power Solutions for today. We'll have another opportunity next week, Monday, at 11:30. Thank you for speaking with us once again. Well, that's much we have.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, I'll be signing out on behalf of Wiebe, Boer, my co-host on this segment of the show. Until next week, stay tuned, stay blessed, and stay connected to Nigeria Info 99.3. My name is Collins. Teke. The news is up next in just a moment.